everybody. Welcome to the Hallmarkies podcast. We are really excited today to have one of our Hall stars for When Hope Calls. This is our first When Hope Calls interview that we've done with any of the cast. We're really excited today to be talking to Morgan Kohan from When Hope Calls. I'm film critic Rachel Wagner, and I'm really delighted to talk to you, Morgan. So thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me. This is lovely. Awesome.
Yeah. So what we like to do on our podcast is we like to give our guests a chance to introduce themselves and tell us what inspired you to become an actor.
Wow. Okay, well, I'm Morgan Kohan. I play Lillian Walsh on When Hope Calls, one of the two sisters who's running the orphanage there. And what inspired me to become an actor? I mean, it was kind of a bit of a journey. It was never really like a clear shot for me. I grew up dancing. That was always my love growing up through like middle school and high school. And then it kind of got to the end of my schooling and I didn't really know what to do. And we went to New York on a dance trip and I saw Broadway for the first time and saw a musical there. And that kind of like blew my mind because I'd never seen anything like that before. And my teachers were really lovely and really supported and pushed me and inspired me to have a look at like musical theater programs. So I ended up going to a triple threat school in Toronto where we did singing, dancing, and acting. And it was a great program because they would accept people who were strong in one aspect and showed potential in the others. Mm-hmm. So I had never done any acting or any sort of vocal training. So they lovingly sat through my audition somehow, and let me into their program. And through that, I kind of opened up my eyes to the acting world. And that was mainly based in theater, but that was really incredible. And that kind of, it just, my love for acting kind of started to take over and started to feel like that was the route for me. And out of school, then I transitioned over to film and TV. So that's kind of how it all happened.
That's really neat. So what kind of dance did you do?
Oh, I did like tap, jazz, ballet, musical theater, that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. But I started ballet late. I remember that was a very awkward point in my life. I think grade 7. I was in, I must have been in middle school, grade 7. And they put me in this class and it was filled with kids in grade 3 or 4 because they've been doing it for years. So that's like a little bit of a check, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I kind of did the whole shebang all through there. Mm-hmm. Just tried it all out. My parents were really lovely and I was very lucky to have the opportunity to try out a bunch of different things.
And that's cool. I am the worst dancer to ever exist. So I admire that ability very much.
It is something very different for like learning choreography and dancing and then just like dancing.
Yeah.
You know, people are like, oh, you dance, let's see what you got. And it's like, no, that's not how this works. I don't got anything.
Yeah. So were you able to be in any musical productions? Once you dove into that world?
Not beyond my schooling, actually. The program I went to, we did in our final term, we did a musical. So we did Legally Blonde, which was so much fun. Yeah. So I did that. But after that, it was kind of like right away for me. I knew that wasn't gonna be where I necessarily could excel out of the different areas you could go into. So I quickly kind of chose where I thought I might fit in best for myself.
That's good. I did some just plays in high school and that was really fun. I did Bye Bye Birdie.
Amazing.
Yeah. Bye Bye Birdie and The Wiz. All white version of The Wiz, but we had fun.
And, you know, there's something so special about stage productions. There really is. It's like when it's working and if you're in an audience and things are just jiving, it's magic. It feels magic to be there. And that's something that's really funny. The difference between film and TV is like if you're in theater, and you're on stage and you're doing it, you know if it's going well or if it's not.
Right.
Whereas with film and TV, you do it and you hope for the best because you really don't know. There's so many other things that go into it, the editing, the music, the who sees it and when, like so many different things. So you really have no idea
Well, and just the
until
fact
it's
that
out.
you have a live audience there is
Totally.
just so different. I mean, I know some TV is filmed a lot with live audience, but not as much anymore. But
Yeah.
just having that that
Instant
immediate
feedback.
response, yeah, from
Yeah.
it is pretty fun. And so when you transitioned over to television, do you remember like the first role that you got? Do you remember, did you have like a freak out moment? Like, oh my gosh, I'm in cast.
I think the first thing was probably a commercial, but the first like role that I got was on Murdoch Mysteries.
Uh-huh.
Um, and it was funny because I was new and my agent called me and she was like, "Hello, Sarah Glass." And in my head, I'm like, "Who's Sarah? Does she not know me? Does she really not know my name?"
You're like, why am I paying this person? What is
Yeah.
happening?
And she was like, "No, like the character, you booked Sarah." And I was like, "Oh."
That's funny.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that was amazing. That was really cool. I got a couple days on there and met Yannick, and he was so lovely. And it was cool to be on a show like that too. It had already been on, I think, like 6 or 7 seasons. So it
Uh-huh.
was like everybody knew what was going on. It was very organized and everyone enjoyed what they were doing. It was great.
Yeah, that did you like have all your family like get together and watch and everything?
Oh, how did it work? My family was over in Australia at the time when
Oh,
it
okay.
came out. But they sent me, I remember they did send me a picture of them all like huddled around the TV, being like, "We're watching you."
That's so cool. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you grow up in the Toronto area or
No, I'm actually from out west, British Columbia. So I
oh,
grew
okay.
up in the Okanagan Valley, a little town called Summerland.
Mm.
And then I just moved to Toronto when I got into the school out here after high school.
Now, is Summerland, I have to believe that it's pretty cold there, way up north.
It's not so much north, but it is yeah, it definitely has its seasons. It's beautiful. In the summer it is tourist central. It's a beautiful lake. We're wine and orchard country, rolling hills. We have ski hills behind us as well, mountains. So it's beautiful, but in the winter, yeah, it's cold. It's a
Yeah.
dry cold there too, and lots of snow.
Yeah. Yeah, you're like it's snowing. You're like the name's a lie.
Yeah, it's all a lie. Don't listen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. So did you watch a lot of like movies and television stuff like growing up, or were you kind of
No, I
not
was like, I had no idea what I was getting into. Even I remember my first days going to, so the school I went to in Toronto was called Randolph. And I remember my first couple days going in there and there were people like, it was, oh, what's that show? It was literally like Fame. Like there were people in the hallway singing musicals and all of a sudden someone would jump in with a harmony and someone else would like break into like another harmony. And I'm like, what is happening? They all knew plays. They all had so many references.
Yeah.
And like I didn't. I watched So If He Can Dance and Grey's Anatomy. Those were my shows. We didn't really read plays or I had no knowledge of that. So I feel
Yeah.
like even now I'm kind of catching up on a lot of things. Like it's bad sometimes. I mean, I haven't even seen the full Titanic.
Oh, really?
Like it's really bad sometimes.
You just gave up halfway through?
I don't know what happened. I feel like it was maybe at like a friend's sleepover and everyone just falls asleep. And I
Okay.
can never fall asleep watching a movie, so I'd be the last one awake. And I just feel like, well,
Yeah.
this isn't fun.
I mean, I'm like thinking to myself, that's not the kind of movie I only want to see half of.
That's fair.
Like you want to see the
Yeah.
you don't stop like mid iceberg. You're like, what?
Right. Right. I don't know what went on. I don't know.
So you need to see the whole thing and the whole movie.
I really do. I really do.
That's
Yes,
funny.
I'm still catching up on my film and TV knowledge.
I mean, my bigger blind spot. I mean, everybody has them. I don't care how many. Everyone has them. But but I've never been as big into television as into, I like TV movies,
Oh,
but
okay.
I've always been a movie person, not
Ah,
really a television show person.
right, right.
And so, yeah, there's a bunch of shows that I know about, but I've never
Yeah.
really seen.
Well, and there's
That
so much, especially now. There's just so
Yeah,
much coming out and like incredible stuff too. It's impossible to keep up with it all
it
unless that's
really
your
it really
full-time
is.
job.
I
Yeah.
mean, I swear a day doesn't go by where somebody's like, you gotta watch this show, you gotta watch this show. And I'm like, there's only so
Uh,
many hours of the day, and I gotta cover all the Hallmark movies. There's
yeah,
not,
that alone is so much. Fair
especially at
enough. Yeah.
Christmas. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but but yeah, so we're gonna now start really talking about When Hope Calls. So
Okay, great.
if people listening, if you are watching it for the first time on Hallmark Channel, then we might have some spoilers. So if people, don't want to be spoiled on anything that happens,
Listen with
then
caution.
yeah. So there's my little warning. Well, the first thing is that, so had you heard about When Calls the Heart? Did you know about it? How did you end up getting involved in this?
I didn't know about the show prior to auditioning for it. It came through just like any other audition out here in a way. I mean, I feel like the name definitely rang a bell, like I'd heard of it, but
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know the show.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was just like a regular audition. At that point, it was auditioning for Lillian, but just in the Christmas movie, um, to do their Christmas special with, I think it said like in small print, like with the potential to maybe do a spinoff. So it was it
Mm-hmm.
was kind of just like the one role for them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and yeah, so it was actually a crazy day. I think it kind of worked out perfectly. It was the only time I've ever had. I had 4 auditions in one day, all before I think like 1 in the afternoon. And what can happen sometimes when you audition for a show is, especially if it's something that you really want or you feel like the material just speaks to you or it feels right, is you can get so in your head about it. Like you just want it too badly.
Yeah.
And then you think about it and you're like, oh, I should have done this or I should have done that. And the good thing about that day, I think, with having so much going on was like, you go in, you do it, you leave, and you're on to the next thing because you don't have time to think about that. So I
Mm-hmm.
think because of that, I was able to just like be as much myself in the room and bring to Lillian. And I felt, it just felt really right to me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I could feel good and I left it and that was it. And then I think it was like a week or 2 later, I was told they wanted to do like a screen test. They said there were going to be a couple girls. Little did I know it was only me, which is probably good to know. Take the pressure off a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I did like a Skype audition with Neil, who was directing, and Alfonso, who was doing the show running at that time. And we ran through, I think I had 3 scenes. We did them all a couple times, and they gave me some notes and directions and played around. And then a couple weeks later, then it sounded like it was gonna happen, and then we were waiting, and then it as soon as they were like, "Yep, we want you," it was so quick. At first, I think it was on like a Monday, and they're like, "Okay, yeah, can she fly out on Tuesday?" And we're like, "Wait, what? What's happening?"
Wow.
But then it got pushed a bit. But yeah, that's kind of how it all happened. And then we did the movie, and it was so lovely to be out there and get to like see that world and meet everybody. And then we waited. We're just waiting to see what would happen. It's this industry is crazy where
Mm-hmm.
things can change so drastically so quickly. So we're
So
just really optimistic.
when you were filming the movie, did you feel pretty confident that it was going to go to series, or you had no idea?
I feel like I was I'm like a very cautious person when it comes to these things. I'm like
Yeah.
very cautiously optimistic.
Right.
It's like until I'm on set, I don't fully invest my joy, like my excitement. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like it felt really far away when we did the movie. It was like it could be, but it just kind of felt too good to be true and a little too far away to like sink into that happening for
Mm-hmm.
me.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that
Yeah.
makes sense. Because it definitely felt like a for sure thing by the time for us watching it as it was airing. That was
Mm,
like, okay, these are the people that are going to be on the
right.
spin-off, and that but so I was curious about that. And
Yeah.
yeah, and yeah, the movie was really cute. I personally liked that Christmas movie better than just the past one personally.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I did. But I could have watched that little girl and Henry Cowan read the
Oh
book
my goodness, so sweet,
forever.
right?
I was a little disappointed that we didn't see any of Gowan in When Hope Calls, because I just thought they had such a connection. He'd
Yeah.
make a cameo. But
Hopefully,
yeah,
hopefully if we have any like more seasons, hopefully get the
yeah,
whole cast over.
yeah, that
Love
would
to
be
have Aaron come by too. That would be so lovely.
yeah, that would be
Yeah.
really fun. That would be really fun. And I don't know, it was just a cute story, cute movie. This got the she's trying to get her roast for the potluck. And I was like, this is
Yeah.
quite the potluck. This is um but yeah, I mean, so when they greenlit the series, because that was 2018 Christmas movie.
Yeah.
And so when was season 1, when was that all filmed?
We started filming that was it think I think it was end of let me look it up because the dates changed. I'm gonna tell you exactly when we did. End of May. Beginning of
End
May?
of May.
End
Okay.
of May. It was crazy. We started end of May and then we filmed into I think like the first week of September. And at that point we were already premiering our first episodes.
Oh wow, I didn't
Yeah, it
realize
was
that.
so fast.
Huh. Wow, yeah, they are so good at that at Hallmark.
Yeah, it's crazy.
The turnaround.
I think they had the trailer, like their first teaser trailer, out within the first week that we were all filming.
Oh my gosh,
Like,
wow.
is this real? This is crazy.
I'd like to take a second and thank our sponsor for this episode of the podcast. They are a new sponsor, which is really exciting. They are Sundance Now, and this is a ad-free streaming service that you can get right now 30 days free by going to sundancenow.com, use code Hallmarkies. And I was really excited when I got this word of the sponsorship, because I just finished covering the Sundance Film Festival not that long ago. So I really love the work that Sundance as a festival does. So I was really excited to see what Sundance Now had to offer. And we live in a prepackaged world when it comes to TV. We're spoon-fed reality junk, competitive dating shows, and singers behind masks. And we need sometimes stories with a little more thought behind them. And some of that can be fun enough, but this is stuff that's going to hopefully feed our soul and get us to understand different cultures and lifestyles and different ways to experience. And so it's I think really an important thing. And it's only $4.99 a month with their annual plan, which is a really great deal that for what you get. It can work on all of your devices that you have, so you don't have to worry about that. You can watch via Apple and Android devices, Amazon Fire, Google Chromecast, Roku, and more. And I was really impressed when I started to dive into the content. I love particularly, like my costume dramas, and they had the latest version of Wuthering Heights. So that was really neat to get to watch. Their original series, McMafia, State of the Union, and The Cry have received international praise and awards. And there's a ton of different shows, new shows, original shows, and curated content. It's definitely got a lot to offer. And so you can get 30 days free by going to sundancenow.com. Use code Hallmarkies. That's sundancenow.com, code Hallmarkies, for 30 days of free streaming. When you first went onto the Brookfield set, were you just blown away?
Oh, it was wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's all built, like it's all there. All the pieces are in that one spot. And it's kind of like we have base camp where all our trailers are, and you get your hair and makeup done. And then you have like a little road, like a little travel to get to set. But it's kind of behind a little hill, so you couldn't see it. So we got in costume, got our hair and makeup, and then you're driving to set, and it kind of just opens up, and it's like, whoa, this is happening. This is crazy.
Yeah. I mean, I was pretty impressed, especially that they built those whole houses.
That was crazy. Yeah. And I think, what did they say? Like 6 weeks or something crazy?
Yeah.
The entire orphanage, they said too, is like it's a functioning house. If they put water in there, I think, and insulation, like we could live in there over the winter or the summer. It's beautiful too.
I mean, that really impressed me, because when I first heard about the fact that this was going to the streaming service, because I feel like streaming services can be one of two things. It can be a special prestige project that they're really investing a lot of money into, or it can be a kind of a throwaway, like that's something not worthy of the main channels. We're going to put it on streaming.
Right.
I've seen both. And so obviously I'm hoping that it'll be great, but I mean, you were on Star Trek Discovery, and I think that's a good example of them putting a lot of money and making it prestige, but just not all of the streaming services have been that way, and with content. And so but then I saw that when Kevin McGarry did the initial tour of Brookfield, I was like, wow. They're really this is a real investment. They're really putting that's why I personally would be really surprised if it's not renewed, because I don't know, I just feel like they've invested so much.
Yeah, I think people are really hoping it goes. It goes for sure, because people definitely did. I think the idea was that I think that probably can happen with streaming services. Sometimes they just need content and not necessarily want to put so much into it, but because it was a spinoff of like everybody's favorite show, they didn't want to disappoint. And I think they really wanted it to be, the one of the ones to launch the streaming service in a way. Like it was already up there, but for their first, like we were their first original content just for the streaming service. So I think they really wanted that to kind of be their speaking piece in a way.
Yeah. So what do you think When Hope Calls has that maybe When Calls the Heart doesn't? There's something to make it special.
Well, we're just a completely different group of actors, different people. So, I mean, no matter what, you're going to bring something different just with your own energy and who you are as a person. It's just going to be different. So I think I hope we still carry like a lot of the themes and the things that people love about When Calls the Heart. But I think we have some great humor in our show too. And, still trying to incorporate some romance and family dynamics and some mystery too for our fellow Mounties.
Yeah.
And that, so I mean, we just have different people.
Yeah. Well, it's nice too, because it's about two women as opposed to focusing, the main focus being on, one woman with Elizabeth. And so I think that works really nicely. And I was really impressed with the show, and it was a lot better. And I don't know why. I don't know what I was expecting, but it was a lot better than what I was expecting.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I enjoyed covering it. We covered every episode on the podcast.
Amazing.
Yeah, and so I wondered, do you think that Lillian has some survivor's guilt, kind of, because she got the home and Grace didn't?
Yes, absolutely. I think she definitely does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, we speak to it a little bit in the first season for sure. It does come up, and you can just see it too, how I mean, Grace kind of holds things back sometimes, and I think Lillian sees it and just wishes that that didn't happen that way, or like she could have been there for her. Absolutely. I think that very much plays into their dynamic and her. Yeah.
One thing I kind of wondered is, do you think that Grace is really ready to run the orphanage? Because she had so many triggers through the season. Like even something like the birthday party, or just so many different things that I kind of wondered, is this person like ready emotionally to do this?
I think that's why they're so strong together, though.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I don't think yeah, with the two of them, I think they balance each other out. Like Grace is really the, brings a lot of fun and like lightness to it, to the kids, and creativity, and Lillian has that too, but she's very much like the responsible one, and I think kind of like holds, like kind of glues it together a bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that they just work really well together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So which relationship do you think will progress more quickly? Grace and Chuck, or Lillian and Gabe?
Are we doing spoilers here?
Well, I mean, what's on first season?
Well, the
I mean,
first
you don't know what's the
season,
second season, so we could, but just
no.
speculating, I guess.
Well, based on first season,
Yeah.
I'm gonna guess that Grace and Chuck, they seem to be like a little more spicy,
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like Lillian and Gabe are a little more like a slow burn.
Yeah, those Mounties, they take their time.
They
They're
really
slow.
do. It's like, come on, get it together.
Yeah.
I'm getting old over here.
But do you think that Lillian was too hard on Sam for trying to protect her?
Oh, at the end, ooh, yes,
Yeah.
we're hoping. Yeah, this is talk for like, if things move forward in another
Yeah.
season. I think that's something to touch on. I think,
Mhm.
like, for me, when I was playing those scenes, I had a lot of like background as to why she was so hard on him and Gabe. And I'm hoping that, if we come back for a second season, we'll be able to kind of explain that, where it comes from another place. It's not just
Mhm.
her being hard and being like, why are you looking out for me, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think there's
'Cause
more to it than just that.
Because he was just trying to, when he was doing what he was told, first of all, by Gabe, so it wasn't all his fault, but he was just trying to protect her from these creepy people, and so I was kind of like, calm down.
Yeah.
So
I think maybe part of it too was just, it's one thing just to protect Lillian, but Lillian herself protects, a bunch of kids with her
yeah.
as well. So not including her in that conversation, you're putting those kids at risk too.
Mm-hmm.
So I think for her, it was like, there are more people at play here than just you feeling good about looking after me.
Mm-hmm. So there was the whole story with Lillian's father
Mm-hmm.
in the season, and his kind of this whole thing with the bridge, and Tess, and
Mm-hmm.
that whole what were your thoughts as you sort of played that that whole scenario, as far as her father isn't with us wasn't with her anymore, but she had that debate of kind of what's more important, like the people
Mm-hmm.
now, or sort of the legacy of her father.
Mm-hmm. Um, yeah, it was an interesting one. I mean, I think, that can go in a lot of different scenarios too. Is like, do you want to protect how people thought of you, or someone that you loved, that you hold in really high regard?
Yeah,
Or
because Tessa's
is,
husband was it was involved as well, so
yeah,
his name was so his legacy as well, so it's pretty complicated.
for sure. And I mean, are we spoiling a little bit?
Yeah,
Should I
I gave
spoil?
the warning, so we're good.
Okay. Okay. I mean, I like they say, like, Tess never read the report. And the guys never said anything to her because they felt she was grieving, and she was going through so much loss that they didn't want to turn around and be like, well, your husband told us to go ahead when we told him that it wasn't safe, and that he pushed more cattle and more weight across the bridge than my father had told everyone that could go on there, because he was in a hurry. So, you know, it's when the whole town turned on Lillian's father, and it like caused his health to fall apart, and I mean ultimately his passing too. And then she continues to berate my father and my family, Lillian's father and family. Like, that would absolutely be really hard to let that go.
Yeah.
When you have proof of it, for sure.
Well, and I feel especially, I think it would be even almost harder, as then she's head of this orphanage. I don't know, just everything with parents would be so much more
Precious.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and she ends up losing 2 sets of parents.
Right. So yeah, I thought that was a good story arc for Lillian, because I think she's kind of seen as sort of the blessed one, the one who got the golden spoon kind of a thing, whereas Grace didn't, but she still had her own trials and her own things that she had to deal with.
Yeah, I think that kind of speaks to what you were saying before with, like, do you think she still has some like survivor's guilt over it as well? Like, she covers. I think she's gone through a lot too, just different things, like different traumas and tribulations, but she covers, and she understands how lucky she was in the long run, and tries not to, you know, let some of the other stuff overshadow that.
Was it fun doing the whole scene where you steal the books and stuff from like, that was it was
that was great.
That
was so much fun. I love when I love that they were starting to add you know, the little bits of like sauciness of Lillian in there. You know, she's not just straight laced and like, you know, by the book. She'll do what needs to be done to like figure her stuff out. Absolutely. That's so much fun. I love any of that stuff that goes in, for sure.
Yeah, that was really good. All right, well, very good. we really enjoyed the first season, so we'll be excited, hopefully, to be able to cover season 2. And so we'd like to end our interview with just some fun, silly questions.
Oh, great. Sounds great.
So, all right, first question is, what is the best ice cream flavor?
Oh, you know, I'm torn between 3, and they're very different.
Okay.
Mint chocolate chip, Tiger, which is orange and licorice.
And like
anything
black licorice?
Love licorice. And then anything with peanut butter in it, like chocolate peanut butter cup.
Yeah.
So any of those 3.
Very good. Okay. What is your favorite color?
Oh, I really like a good rusty orange.
Oh, okay.
Very
good.
Specific.
Yeah. All right. What music are you into right now?
Everything.
Yeah. You like a little of everything?
Yeah. I like, I mean, guilty pleasures of like pop, love Ariana Grande.
Yeah.
But then also I like grew up listening to blues with my dad, so we'll have blues Sundays with that in the background. And then my boyfriend is really into 90s hip hop, so that'll always be going on too.
Yeah.
Just pretty much anything. Yeah.
Cool. Good. All right. What is your go-to date night food?
Ooh, either Thai or sushi.
Okay, good. A lot of people say sushi. It's a good date food. Yeah, because it's not too messy.
Well, we've made it a tradition 3 Valentines in a row now. We stay home and make sushi ourselves.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
Like, that's cool.
A lot easier than expected.
Well, maybe that's your answer then for what is your go-to date night activity and you're out and about or whatever.
Once a year, making sushi.
Making sushi.
No, our date nights, and go to a movie. We love checking out what everyone's talking about.
we have a theory, I guess you'd say, that the thing that makes the movie date a good date is you have to go to the movie first and then go to dinner.
I
Especially
think you're right.
because then you have
Yeah.
you can talk about the movie.
Oh, that's much better. Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree with
people
that.
do it
And then
wrong.
you're not like, ooh, we have to leave. Should we get the check? Are we running out of time?
That's right.
That's good. Yep,
Yeah,
I'm gonna stick with that now. That's great advice.
Okay, good. Changing the world here on the podcast.
All right, yeah.
Okay, dogs or cats?
Dogs,
Okay, beaches or mountains?
beaches.
Okay, suit or fancy dress or sweats?
Oh, both.
Okay, good. All right, what's your favorite holiday to celebrate?
mm, Christmas.
Yeah,
I just like because we always get the whole family together, or we try to. Yeah,
yeah.
Christmas.
Well, and it's part of being in the Hallmark family. Let's be real.
Absolutely, yeah.
So this might be very hard for you to answer because you don't have Hallmark Channel in Canada. But you can pick your own movie that you were in. So what is your favorite Hallmark movie?
Oh. I'm gonna say A Christmas Blessing. The one
Yeah.
calls the heart. Yeah.
It was really good. I really enjoyed it. So I have no debate there. So
No.
well, well, very good. We are really excited to get to see hopefully what happens more in Brookfield. And thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us. We really
Thank
appreciate it.
you. No, this is so lovely. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah. So do you have social media that you'd like to share or anything like that?
Oh yeah, you can reach me both on Instagram and Twitter. Just it's at my name, so at Morgan Kohan, Kohan, with
Great.
no spaces or periods or anything.
Great. Well, we'll have that all in the description section that people can follow you. And yeah, we'll be in touch. Hopefully, maybe we can talk to you again as if the season later on in the year. Hopefully, we can
Yeah, sounds
talk
good.
to you. That'd be fun.
Absolutely.
All right. We'll talk to you later then. Bye, everyone.
Okay. Bye.
We'd really like to thank Morgan for coming on the podcast. This was so much fun to get a chance to get to know her and talk with her and find out more about When Hope Calls. That was great. And so make sure you're following the podcast at Hallmarkies Pod and Hallmarkies Podcast, all of our social media and iTunes, YouTube. If you're listening to iTunes, please leave your ratings and reviews. It really helps us a lot. And if you're listening on YouTube, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. We also have our Patreon group, which is really fun. We like to talk about all the different shows and movies and everything that's going on. We have all the information for that in the description section. We also have our merch store, which has When Hope Calls and When Calls the Heart inspired designs. So check that out. And you can find me at Rachel's Reviews, all of our social media, iTunes, YouTube, and on Rotten Tomatoes. So please check out all my content. I have a weekly family movie night picks, and I'd love for your thoughts on that. So thanks again to Morgan, and we'll talk to y'all later. Bye.